See the big tumbleweed? It's huge. I actually have run into, like, one crossed my highway path and knocked out one of my front lights. Just a little old tumbleweed about 6 feet wide. Huge. That one was pretty close. Thank you for joining me. I hope you're having a wonderful day. No matter where you are in the world, a huge shout out to you, my friends. So right now, I was just talking in my last video about why I'm doing these videos, this series. And I also want to, I got to thinking during my break between last video and this one, 5 minutes or so, kind of put my thoughts together and what am I going to talk about next. I just want to acknowledge all my friends that I had in junior high and high school who helped me through really hard times. And they were really there for me. They were not in the cult. The ones in the cult, we'll get to that eventually. But they kind of did what they were supposed to do. And it all was like not to my favor. So I've definitely had dear friends, and I've had betrayers, many betrayers in my life. And so it's hanging on to the dear friends that I find so important and beautiful. And I've been blessed. So one of the things that I'd like to share is about going in field service or knocking on doors to convert unsuspecting householders. Check this out. I hope I aimed it well enough for you to see that huge stump of a tree growing out of another tree. And they've sawed the one in half because it used to block the trail here. We used to have to climb over it. So I guess that's a good thing. It doesn't look like it was dead from the color of the wood inside, but I don't know much about trees, so I don't know. So my parents made me go in field service. I talked about the tree hugger friend I met when I was 4 years old in one of my last videos. And he was the first of probably many people whose doors I knocked on. And, a lot of people slammed the door in your face. I had to start doing this when I was, like I said, like 4. I mean, he's the first one I remember. But I was probably doing it for a while. He wasn't the first door I knocked on, just the first one I remember. So, you have to place magazines. And the organization, at one point they owned, I don't know, I want to say half of Brooklyn. They were like they were worth mega billions. I think they've sold a lot of their Brooklyn properties, but they also owned a lot up in Bethel, New York, and like lots and lots of farmland. And so they never wanted for anything. I mean, they could keep printing out books and writing their inane little myopics full of lies and hate, and then they, a lot of people, I think most, would buy the magazines and the books just to get these people off their back. But little did they know that once you buy magazines, they're going to keep coming around. They're going to hound you. They're going to just keep knocking on your door, force you into Bible study. I say force, but it's always at the person's agreement. I think a lot of people study with them because they're curious, and then a few of those actually get converted in the end, and they usually end up losing their family. They're made to disassociate from their families and their worldly influence friends, and they do end up leaving everyone in their past behind, because they're told to, and they're told that bad associations spoil useful habits. That was the catchphrase when I was a kid. So I wasn't supposed to make friends at school, but I did. I wasn't supposed to hang out with friends at school, but I did. I snuck out of the house, had a harder time sneaking back in. I snuck to dances in 7th grade. All kinds of stuff. But field service. So when you're a child, you're just told what to say, and then you repeat it. And, as far as indoctrination goes, that's a beautiful way to indoctrinate somebody. Make them sit through 5 or 6 hours worth of mind-numbing meetings. We're under the bridge now. Every week, and then take them out in field service for 2 to 4 hours a week, sometimes more. Make them go with you on your Bible study visits. My mother took me to, I'm going to show you the river now, the Rio Grande. So beautiful. My mom took me to, I don't know what to call it other than, an insane asylum. But it really, I don't think it was that. That's what they used to call it back in the day. But, it was where people, many disabled, unfortunately, like physically disabled people, would end up in these asylums. And so I would have to go with my mom. It was kind of scary, and it made me kind of sick to my stomach because it smelled in there, and it was frightening. And then listening to my mother talk and read from the books from the organization, whose name, I don't want to say it. You know who it is. You might be one. If you are, don't leave any comments. They'll be deleted because I can smell So, yeah, the books that my mother read to, her name was Mary, and she was a blind lady. And in this horrible place, she probably didn't need to be there, actually, because I don't think anything about her was crazy, like, at all. She just had a physical handicap, and she was very kind. And so that was weekly. We drove about, 30 minutes, 40 minutes to get there. And I would always get car sick. So by the time we got home, I was just ready for a big long nap. It was exhausting, between the car sickness and the mind-numbing boredom of the book study, and all the vivid imagery of Armageddon and how the birds are going to pick out your eyes when you die in Armageddon if you don't do everything that they say. Not that God says, but everything that they say. They, the elders, the governing body, they're the ones who write the books, or at least make final approval and tell the writers what to put in them, all the new light that's shed. In other words, oh, we effed up, we better change our stance on that one, because people aren't happy about it, but not that they really care. But they find excuses as far as how they're going to change their light. So in field service, you're placing books, you're placing mostly magazines. I think they went up to 25 cents. They used to be 10 cents each, or maybe it was 10 cents for both of them when I first started, like eons ago. Yeah, so it was always interesting because I had to go. My father especially didn't care, never mind, about, like, if I was in a neighborhood with a bunch of people from school. He didn't care. That was just part of it. So I think a few times I had to knock on doors where I knew a classmate lived. It was terrifying and completely humiliating, embarrassing. So much, I absorbed so much shame around it that it's not even funny. But that's all part of it. They want you to feel the shame. They want you to absorb the shame. They want you to absorb all of the negative. It's just one big ick, like huge ick. And they thrive off of the ick factor. They just want you to suffer while you're on this planet. Joy, can't do that. Seriously. Okay, that's it for now. Hit the like button, subscribe. I'll see you next time. Love you.